Wayne Gretzky famously said, "You won't catch me bragging about my goals, but I'll take all day to talk about my assists." Wayne Gretzky was a superstar. He scored lots of goals, but he actually scored way more assists than he did goals. Wayne Gretzky was more about the team, that everybody had their role to play. And we're going to look at a story today, and it really perfectly describes the church and how everybody has a role to play. There's a story in Exodus 17, and in this story we see that Moses goes up on a hill with Aaron and Hur, and Joshua is down in the battlefield fighting against the Amalekites. Did you know that Amalek means sorrow? And where they were fighting is Rephidim, what means comfort. Which tells us that sometimes the enemy will try to bring sorrow where we have comfort or where we have rest. And this is what the church is battling against, is that the enemy tries to bring sorrow into what God is trying to do. But everybody playing their role will get things done. We see that in this battle that Joshua was down there with the soldiers, and Moses is interceding on behalf of them, praying as the leader. And it tells us that in the story, that as his hands were lifted up, Joshua was victorious. But when his hands came down, they were losing. Which tells me that hands lifted up to God is our only source of strength and hope for any kind of victory or success in the church. So let's kind of look at the different roles for a second and how everybody has their roles to play. What I see is in the church is that there is specific leadership that God has put in place. People that are leading the church, that are seeking God for wisdom and vision and what is the direction that you want to take us. There are specific people that God has put in place to do that. And Moses represents those people. And what a beautiful picture this is, with him with his hands lifted up to God, praying and interceding on behalf of Joshua and the other soldiers. While Joshua, I believe, represents many of the people that are in our church, the volunteers that are doing the work, that are working in kids ministry, on the worship team, in youth ministry, on the serving team, on community teams, in the nursery, all these different areas, running computers, running soundboards, the people that are doing the everyday work, the soldiers of the church. And isn't it interesting, the direct correlation was that as the leadership was interceding on their behalf, was lifting up their hands to praise, that the soldiers, that Joshua in the battle had success. This is a great lesson for us, for those that are leaders in their churches, that we need to be coming to God. We need to be interceding before God on behalf of the people in our church. You know, our role on a Sunday morning should be investing into our peoples to help them to go and be the soldiers that they need to be throughout the week, but especially the roles that they are serving in the church. And then it tells us that there was Aaron and Hur. These are your support staff, your administrators, your bookkeepers, the people that do all the work behind the scenes that never get any of the credit. But they just came, and if Moses was tired, they lifted up his arms. If he needed something to sit on, they found him a rock to sit on. They were there for whatever Moses needed. These people are so crucial to church ministry. The people that are behind the scenes, that doing everything that we don't even see. We need them. See, what this story tells us about the church is that everyone has their role to play. Everyone has something to do, whether you're the leadership or you are in the trenches doing the work, the soldiers, or you were the support staff, people coming around Moses to lift him up, to make sure that can keep moving forward. It tells us that Joshua and the soldiers were victorious, but they also let us know that they would be fighting the Amalekites for generation after generation. So what does Moses do? He builds a memorial. And he builds it up, and he takes 12 stones, probably to represent each of the 12 tribes of Israel, each of the families of Israel. And he makes this memorial, and he brings Joshua, and he says, look at what I've built. This is so you will remember that God brought us victory. That as my hands were lifted up to God, we were victorious. But also, Joshua, so that you would know that there will always be Amalekites that we have to battle. But as long as we recognize, and I think this is a good word for the church, if you can recognize each of the roles that you have to play to make sure that the church is successful, that we will see victories. We will see great things happen, but everybody has to be doing their role, because these Amalekites are going to come against the church. Sorrow is going to come against the church, but God's purpose and vision and victory will move us forward. But everybody has to play their role and remember what God has done for us, and God will do it again for generation after generation. So let's be successful churches. Let's go in and let's not be so concerned about our own personal victories, but let's see the collective group, what we can do together to move the church forward. We have great days ahead if we can do that. So let's do it together. Know your role, move forward, and that God will bring us the victory. Amen. Well, thanks so much for watching. I hope that you have a great week.